Hey everyone, it's Aubrey, recovering perfectionist, queen of distraction, and today we're going to be chatting about a list that I've compiled of 24 things that I have intentions on decluttering in 2024. Now, I know that January is basically over, but I am still very much feeling the fresh start of the new year, and this is the time of year that I typically want to throw away and declutter absolutely everything. And in a perfect world, I could go through my entire house and every single item that I own and declutter and minimize over the course of a day or a weekend, but obviously that is not real life. So when I created this list, I tried to be very realistic about it. I tried to think about everyday items, but then I also tried to consider things that get forgotten in the day-to-day. And at the same time, not put pressure on myself to be decluttering all of this stuff at one given time, but really just give myself the whole year to tackle these items. I just know that this year I really want to focus on minimizing as much as we possibly can, being very realistic about the things that we're hanging on to. And ultimately, by having less inventory in the house, I will have less mental inventory that I am being held responsible for. I'm sure that for many of you, that is very relatable. So this list of 24 items, I think, can be broken up however you want to. If you, by some miracle, are able to go through this entire list in a short period of time, that's super awesome for you. But I think that the way that I'm going to be coming at it is just as I come across these items, whether it's seasonally or whatever, I'll deal with them then. But then also just being mindful to keep an eye on this list. I have a printed out version that I'm going to be putting on my fridge, just so my goals and intentions for decluttering are still fresh in my memory. It's not going to be in a notebook that I put away. And I think that with the 24 items, it's pretty easy to divvy up 2 categories of items each month, or breaking it down into 6 items per season. So however it works for you, just do it. Because as we all declutter, we come to really realize that less is more. So let's get into it. I've got my handy dandy list right here. I tried to categorize as best I could by room and taking into consideration all parts of a home minus the garage. That is primarily my husband's department. I don't even want to try to put that kind of pressure on myself to tackle anything out there. So let's get into it for real. Number 1 is bedding. And bedding is obviously just anything that's going on your bed. Sheets, quilts, comforters, pillows. Number 2 is throw pillows and blankets. So the decorative things that you probably just throw on the floor before you go to bed, or the throw pillows on your couch that your kids just throw all over the place. As much as I think those look really nice when they are where they're supposed to go, I don't know how badly I want to hang on to the throw pillows on my couch anymore, because they end up really just becoming a toy, which I guess it is a toy that's getting used. Number 3, clothes. And I feel like this and a lot of the items on these lists are going to be obvious, but just things that we should be tackling on a semi-regular basis, whether you're tackling your clothes seasonally or just all in one pile. And don't forget things like socks, underwear, bras. For me personally, those are always the things that for whatever reason get overlooked. And also any play clothes or outdoor wear. And then don't forget to hold your spouse accountable and then tackle your kids' stuff as well. Is your tummy full? Hi. You want to sit with mom? It hurts? Aww. You want to take your shirt off? Oh, you gotta let that tum-tum out. Ooh, peekaboo. Better? Okay. All right, number 4, bags. And when I'm talking about bags, I'm talking about any old purses or just purses, fanny packs that you're not using anymore. Also think about things like old luggage that you're not using. And you want to change your shirt again? So it wasn't your tummy that was hurting, it was just the superhero sweater that was making your tummy hurting. You want to put on the fire truck shirt? Ooh, peekaboo. There you are. Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, also with bags, don't forget about things like any reusable grocery bags that have accumulated over the course of however long it's been since we started using reusable grocery bags more frequently. Number 5 is, I think, considering where you live, you're going to be having more of one versus the other, and this is snow and summer gear. So not just the clothing that goes with the said season, but also like the play gear, the sleds, the pool toys. For us in the Pacific Northwest, I think that even though we don't get a ton of snow, we still have more of an abundance of snow gear than we do toys or clothing that's specific for summer. All right, number 6, we're kind of rolling into the kitchen, and number 6 is dishes. So basically anything that you are putting food in or on, your bowls, your plates, your cups, your mugs, serving trays, etc. Number 7 is utensils and any other food prep items. So measuring cups, tongs, the 3 potato mashers that for whatever reason you ended up with. This is also where we're going to be considering our pots, pans, any cookie sheets, casserole, dishes, mixing bowls, what have you. Food prep. And again, I think that number 6 and number 7 are going to be items that we're not necessarily decluttering in one fell swoop. If you are, that's awesome. But I think it is also things that we can just try and be mindful about noticing as we're living our lives in our kitchen. Alrighty, number 8, small appliances. So are you using your quesadilla maker? How often are you using your blender? Me personally, I got rid of my blender a long time ago. I have an immersion blender that I can use, and my food processor works just fine in any blender situation. All right, number 9 is food. Again, a category that we're kind of tackling on a daily basis as we notice things, but then I think it is also important for us to do, a good clean out in our fridge and our pantry every now and then. I wish I did that more, but I don't. But this is me putting it on the to-do list. So this is not just food that's gone bad or that's expired. This is also parting with any food that is still good, but stuff that you just don't really use. Also in this category, don't forget about things like spices and teas. I always think fridge and pantry first, but I completely disregard the fact that I have a whole cupboard dedicated to spices and teas. Alrighty, number 10, cleaning products and any cleaning supplies. Mops, brooms, your sprays, sponges, laundry detergent. I think when clearing out these items, it's good to have things on hand for emergencies like pet or child messes, but also we need to be realistic about the things that we are actually using. Like I know one thing that I need to part with is an upholstery spray that I got for these chairs specifically, and I think that I've used it twice, and I've had these chairs for almost 4 years now. So that's one thing for me personally that just is taking up space and mental energy. I feel guilty for not using it, but I'm not using it, so it's gotta go. Alrighty, number 11 is medicine and healthcare products. So this means we're clearing out expired meds and those what if items. And my rule of thumb here that I need to stick by is if I haven't used a certain product in over a year, even if it's not expired, I need to just part with it because obviously I forget that it even exists, or it's just not something that's applying to my life at this moment in time. Number 12, I guess if we haven't already migrated out of the kitchen, we're doing that now. And number 12 is beauty products. And when I say beauty products, I'm basically just talking about anything that's in your bathroom, most likely, that you are putting on your body. So soap, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, makeup, any skincare. But then also don't forget about things like curling iron, hair straighteners, maybe that one long curl thing that you wrap the thing around that you thought was going to be a miracle product, but it wasn't. We're parting with those things. Number 13 is baby gear. Now, if you're using your baby gear, obviously you're using your baby gear, hang on to it. The baby gear that I am referring to is the baby carrier that you are hanging on to because you hope someday your toddler will want you to carry him in the carrier. But he's just a big boy now. Hey, you want up? You want to come and sit with mom?
Mail.
The mail.
Yep.
It's Sunday, there's no mail today. Yeah, no mail truck today. My heart. If you're growing out of the baby phase, you know what baby gear I'm talking about. Like the little blankets that don't get used anymore. That is heavy. You're using your big muscles. Okay, number 14, games and puzzles. We're tossing the broken things and tossing the things that can't function without certain missing pieces. And then we're donating everything that's still good. And that's also rolling us into 15, toys, kind of the same thing. Toss what's broken or what can't function without missing pieces, and we're donating what's good. And while I think that toys are a good thing to involve your kids in to some extent, but as I have learned over the last few years, sometimes you kind of just have to take control over the situation and make executive decisions. Number 16 is books. So your books, your kids' books, cookbooks. This would also be a good time to just part with any instruction manuals. I am very confident that 100% of any kind of instruction manual for anything ever created ever is available online. With number 17, we're rolling into hobbies, and 17 is specifically indoor hobbies and the supplies that come with those hobbies. So your paints, your thread, your scrap pieces of fabric that you are for sure going to use for something someday. Let's be realistic and part with the things that we're not using. What's up, Buggy? Do you want to sit with me?
Mom.
Here, come up with mommy. Bonk. I remember in one video a while back, I was talking about how I wanted to part with certain hobby items, but I was having a hard time because I want to do these hobbies. But the person who commented, she said, think about what your hobby items are doing. They're just sitting, accumulating dust, doing nothing. And think about what your hobby supplies could be doing in the hands of somebody who is actually going to be utilizing them. So I think that that's a good mindset to think about. We can always replace things. And I think a lot of times we feel guilty about the money that we've invested in a certain hobby that never became a thing. Like me personally, a few years ago when he was a baby, I spent probably $300, if not more, on canvases and acrylic paint. And while I did paint a couple things, a few of my canvases have become walls and roofs for forts for the boys. We're almost done. Alrighty. And after 17, 18, we're rolling into outdoor hobby supplies. So your camping supplies, bikes, what have you. If you have an outdoor hobby, you know what it is, you know what it entails. Number 19 is gardening supplies. If this doesn't apply to you, hey, there's one thing that you don't have to worry about. And if you do garden, tackle your greenhouse, tackle your box of seeds. If you have a bunch of shriveled up bulbs and tubers that you never planted, just put them in the compost or your yard waste bin. It's okay. Number 20 is any exercise equipment. Do you want to watch Trash Truck? Okay, let's go turn that on. Okay, where were we? My plan for his activity elsewhere today did not work out, and it's just Trash Truck on Netflix to the rescue. Hashtag mom guilt. Okay, number 20, exercise equipment. I think that a good rule of thumb is kind of just sticking to that. If I haven't used it in a year, part with it. If my kids are using the yoga blocks for play more than I'm using them for actual yoga, do they become a toy or do they get donated? And with exercise equipment, don't just think about like your weights or your yoga mats. Don't forget to consider things like any exercise DVDs or VHS that you might have lingering around. If you have any Pilates DVDs or Richard Simmons workouts from the 80s or 90s, it is okay to let those go. Obviously, you know how to use YouTube. It is mind-blowing the exercise programs that you can find on the internet. And also with exercise videos, don't forget about any subscriptions that you might have active that you're not using. Cancel it. You can always sign up later. And this goes for gym memberships as well. Okay, 21, holiday decor. Now, I put this at the end of the list because I know that there are other holidays that will be coming up. And I think that with holiday items, maybe this is just something that needs to have like several check boxes. But as you take things out and you decorate your home, if there's anything that's left at the bottom of the tote that you're not putting out, anything that's broken or just doesn't spark joy for you anymore, let it go. I think that it's a great idea to do this at the beginning of these seasons and holidays as we put things out, because then I think you're more likely to be able to pass it on to somebody who can't actually get use out of it. And with number 22, we're kind of rolling into a similar category where I think the same rules and philosophies can be applied, and this is seasonal decor. So for me personally, I decorate more for season than holiday. Christmas is really the only holiday that I decorate for. So for myself, I have specific fall decor that I use. Yeah, so if you've got a lot of spring specific stuff, then just declutter it. It'll be fine. All right, number 23 is all junk drawers. So the junk drawer that you might have in your kitchen, your entryway. If you have one of these, you probably have a junk drawer in it. Mine is the top. This is just a good time to tackle the drawers that house miscellaneous things, nightstands, what have you. But also don't forget to consider any other areas that you might be housing miscellaneous items. And this category is also roping in wherever you house your miscellaneous electronics or cords. I guarantee that you have some kind of basket or bin or drawer with things like this in it. If you're not sure about cords and you have multiples, keep one. I've narrowed our cords down to just a Ziploc that I keep them in. And even though some of them realistically could go, at least everything is all in one contained spot. Alrighty, with number 24, we are wrapping things up with kind of a broad category that is going to be just unique to us as individuals. And this is someday items. So the items that belong to your fantasy self. And I think that once we go through 1 through 23 on this list, there will probably be a lot of things that have been left behind because they are items that we associate with the person that we want to be, the items that maybe sometimes we feel guilty about having and not using because maybe there are things that we would like to make a part of our lives, but they're just not realistic for where we are. And I know that some of these things are probably irreplaceable. Like for me personally, I've got these really cool ceramic, like Moroccan lantern looking things that were my grandma and grandpa's that I found in their garage when we cleaned it out after they passed away. And they are cool, but now that I think about it, they're sitting in my garage after sitting in their garage for who knows how long. So at some point they decided they didn't work for their lifestyle And now I'm kind of just hanging on to them, imagining that they will work for mine when they just don't. So even though we may have an emotional attachment to these items, are they actually benefiting us, or are we feeling guilty for not actually utilizing them in our lives? So that's that. Those are the 24 things that I think we can declutter in 2024. Again, nothing spectacular, but I think it is just a realistic list. And I'm sure that you can find 1.5 million similar lists across the internet. But if you are interested, look in the description below. I have created a PDF of the 24 things to declutter in 2024. The downloadable version will have little check boxes so you can check things off as you go. For me personally, I'm going to be keeping this list on my fridge, like I said, just as a visual reminder. If you don't like having things on your fridge, but you have a vision board that works well for you, or a planner that you actually utilize throughout the year and you remember that it exists, like past February and March, pop it in there. And hopefully this will be just a simple tool with things broken down to help you tackle and minimize your home in the new year. Man, after these videos where I do a lot of talking, I just feel so tired. I need to take a nap or have a sit down, she says after she's been sitting down for the last however long this has been. Okay, well, that is that for today. I appreciate you taking a chunk out of your day to hang out with me and listen to me as I talked about the things. If this is something that you're interested in doing, let me know in the comments. Alrighty, well, that is all for real. Again, thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you on the next one. As always, I love you, have fun, and be kind.